Part 1. Living and Non-Living Things.
Hey friends, we're so glad you're here today. My name is Miss Sarah with Auburn Day School.
And I'm Miss Katie, and this is Tucker.
We are going to go on a STEM stroll today to start our lesson. But in order to do a really good STEM stroll, we want to use our 5 senses. Do you remember what they are?
Let's see, we've got see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Don't we have a song about our 5 senses?
We do. Let's sing it. We have 5 senses that we use each and every day. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. We use them every day. When we go on our STEM stroll today, we are going to look for things with our eyes. We're going to listen for things with our
Ears,
we're going to smell things with our
nose,
and we are going to, I don't know if we're going to taste anything.
we may not taste a lot, but we're definitely going to get to touch some things with our
A
hands.
whole lot. So I am excited to go with you. Tucker, are you excited to go? I think he is. If we have an overlap where you see things and you hear things like right then, I just heard a car go by. Did you hear that? I heard it definitely a minute ago. We heard a train go by. So if you hear something, we may stop and say, hey, did you hear that? And let's see if you can figure it out. All right, are you ready to go?
All right, Tuck, hop
Let's
down.
get going.
Good job.
I'll get Tucker if you'll get the camera. All right, we're going to
Okay.
start off on our front porch. Let's do a little listening.
I hear some birds. Do you hear the birds?
Yeah, I do. I hear them early in the morning too. I hear something else that's going. You know what? I don't see it.
I don't know what it is.
Let's just keep going. Let's do a little bit of looking, and I'm going to take a basket with me, so maybe we can gather some things too. Ooh, Miss Katie, check this out. I see this fern right here. Isn't it beautiful?
It is a pretty fern.
What color is it, friends? That's right, it's green. I'm going to pull a little bit of the fern off so we can keep it in our nature basket. Just a little bit. Let's keep going. Ooh! This is beautiful. Look at this. Can you tell what color that is? It's almost the color of my shirt. What color is it? Right, it's purple. And I can feel it. Now, this feels a little bit different than the fern did. This is a little sticky. And the back is a little bit of a different color too. Can I hear it? No. Can I taste it? Probably not. But I sure can touch it and see it. I wonder if it smells. Not much. Not much. Let's keep going. There's some green. A beautiful plant. Ooh, now this is really different. This plant is a little smooth feeling. It's almost a little waxy. Let's keep going. Let's see. I hear that sound again, Miss Katie.
I do
You hear
too.
it?
I hear it a lot louder now.
Hey, what's this over here? Look here. Oh, that feels like sand. It's kind of rough. It's sandy. What do you think, Tucker? Don't taste it. He's sniffing it. He doesn't smell anything. It's just sand. But there used to be water here. That may be a clue. Let's keep looking. It sure is.
Sunny.
It is sunny.
really bright.
Ooh, you don't want to look right at the sun, but
No.
I can sure feel it. Miss Katie, check this out. Here's some water here. It's one color. Here's a puddle of water over here. This water is disappearing. Do you remember our last lesson we talked about?
The water cycle. I remember learning about that.
That's right. Water is a
Liquid.
and the sun heats up that liquid. There's a bumblebee too. Look at that. Look at that bumblebee. How cool. I couldn't hear him. He was just one. But the sun heats up the liquid, and then the liquid turns into a
Gas.
and the gas evaporates and goes up into the sky, and it does evaporation, and that turns into condensation in the clouds. It's that water cycle right here on my driveway. I love it. So we've got the water. We just had the water cycle, and we had solid liquid
We sure
gas
did.
right there.
Oh, it's getting louder.
It is. I wonder what it is.
Oh, look. Let's see. Can you see it? What's making that sound?
Oh, it's something that you used to love to play in when you were little. What is that, boys and girls? That's right, it's a sprinkler. That sprinkler is giving my grass something that it really needs right now. What does it need? It needs water to grow. That grass is getting sunshine and it's getting water from my sprinkler. Hey, I want to show you some of these beautiful flowers over here too. I love to find flowers on my stem cell. These have just started blooming this week. You know what these are? These are roses. I'm going to take one petal. It is so soft. Oh, wow. I can really smell that. It's a beautiful smell. And look right on this petal right here, on that leaf. You have water. Just about ready for that water cycle. Here are some more beautiful flowers. These are called pansies. And oh, they are so soft. There are some that are maroon. And then look, there's one of our favorite colors again. What's that? Purple. Look at that gorgeous yellow with the purple veins in there. How beautiful. And more roses. Woo, what a stem walk we're having today. I haven't shown you my garden yet. Come on over. Come on, Tucker. Tucker loves to go on stem walks with me. So we've seen lots of things. We've heard some things. We've even smelled some things. We've touched a lot. But I want to show you a plant that I started this week. I went to the store and I picked up some plants. These plants are going to grow a vegetable. Please don't eat my things. Tucker thinks he needs to taste it, but we really don't, Tucker. Sit down. Sit down, buddy. No, come here. All right, when I went to the store this week, I picked up a tomato plant. Eventually, this plant will grow, and it will fill up this frame. And it will grow some gorgeous tomatoes, just like these. I had to pick these up at the store because my tomato plants just aren't quite right yet. Now, for my tomato plants to grow, I'm gonna need to use this. That's right, we'll have to put some water in it. So every morning, I come out and I pour some water on my plants. I know he may be thirsty. We'll have to get him water when we go in. I also wanted to show you how my tomato plants started. Tomato plants start with a seed, but I really didn't have time to do a seed this year, so I went to the store and bought one that somebody else had already started to grow. What I love about this is that I can show you some of the parts of the tomato plant. This right here is called the leaf. I can see it, I can feel it. Oh, I can smell it too. It actually smells a little bit like a tomato. And then when I want to plant it, I'm going to pull it up. Do you know what these are? We're going to learn a little bit more about these today. These are called roots. The roots are going to grab down into that. Oh, wait! I forgot all about this. Did you see this? That's right. This is the dirt. The roots will grab down into that dirt. I love how dirt feels. And then it will soak nutrients up from the ground. Now, we have seen some things out here. There was one more thing I wanted to show you. Katie? Oh, it's over here. We haven't seen many things out here that were hard, but these things definitely are hard. I like to put some of these in my garden because I like the different color. I like that they're shiny, and they also take up some room pretty good. So, do you know what these are called? That's right, these are rocks. Rocks are hard. They're not moving. They don't need water to grow. In fact, rocks don't grow, but I like rocks in my garden. Well, boys and girls, we're going to go inside and we're going to talk a little bit about things that are living and things that aren't living, because that's what our lesson is about. Today, you saw a lot of things out here that were living and some that were not living too. So let's go inside and we'll learn a little bit more about it. Hi friends, thanks for coming back. We're going to continue our lesson today by reading the book, What's Alive? This book was written by Kathleen Zofeld, and illustrated by Nadine Westcott. And we have permission from HarperCollins to read this book out loud to you. What's alive? What's alive? Do you see some things in that picture that are alive? I do too. Are you like a cat? You don't look like a cat. A cat is furry and it has a long tail and 4 legs. You have 2 legs and no fur, but you can run and jump just like a cat. Are you like a flower or a tree? You don't look like a flower or a tree. A tree is tall, its green leaves grow high up in the air, and its roots grow deep underground. A flower can have petals of pink or yellow or red, but you have no petals, and you won't grow as tall as a tree. But like a flower and a tree, you are growing. Are you like a bird? You don't look like a bird. A bird flies on feathered wings, and you have no feathers, and you cannot fly. But a bird, a flower, a cat, a tree, and you are all alike in one important way. You are all alive. Many things are not alive. A stone is not alive. Your tricycle, a book, the swing set, a doll. None of these things is alive. Do you know how to tell if something is living or not? All living things are alike in certain ways. All living things need water and food and air. Living things use water and food and air to give them energy. They need this energy to grow and move. Living things need water, food, and air. When a cat is born, it is small. It is called a kitten. A kitten gets food from its mother. As the kitten grows bigger and bigger, it begins to lap up water and nibble on food from a bowl. It breathes air in and out through its nose. The kitten is alive and growing. Kittens and cats need food, water, and air to give them energy so they can run and jump and play. A baby bird hatches from an egg. It's called a chick. The chick's mother and father feed it. It breathes air in and out through small holes in its beak. The chick is alive and growing. Chicks and birds use the energy from food, water, and air to live and grow. Chicks and birds use the energy from food, water, and air to fly or hop along on the ground. Birds and cats are animals. You are an animal too. All animals are living things. Trees and flowers are also living things, but they are not animals. Trees and flowers are living things called plants. Plants cannot run or jump or fly. They do not eat or drink or breathe the way that you and I do or the way that a cat does. But they do need water, air, and food. And they can move and they can grow. Trees and flowers begin as seeds, and when they are still small, trees and flowers are called seedlings. The seedlings grow roots, and roots take in water and nutrients from the soil. The seedlings grow leaves, and leaves help plants to breathe in a special way. If you look at the underside of a leaf with a magnifying glass, you can see tiny holes. Plants take in air through these tiny holes. Green leaves also help plants to catch sunlight. Plants use the power of sunlight to make food out of air, water, and nutrients from the soil. Plants use the food they make to give them energy. The energy helps them move. They do not run or jump, but they do grow and grow. They bend their stems and leaves to follow the sun. All animals and all plants are living things. Anything that never needs food or water or air is not a living thing. Now you can go exploring. Walk through your house slowly, then through your backyard or the park, and look carefully at everything you see. Draw pictures of each different thing. When you're finished exploring, look at your pictures and see if you can tell which are living and which are non-living. For each picture, ask yourself these questions. Does it need food? Does it need water? Does it need air? Can it grow or move all by itself? If the answer to these questions is yes, then that's a living thing. But what if you find a plant that is brown and dry? It will not grow anymore. It cannot take in water or air. It cannot move except to blow in the wind. Is that brown plant a living thing? What if you find a little bird that has fallen from a tree and it lies very still on the ground? The little bird will never move again. It will not eat or grow again. Is the little bird a living thing? The dry plant and the little bird are living things that have died. All living things eventually die. That's an important part of being a living thing. A stone or other non-living thing can never eat or grow. It can never run and jump and play. A non-living thing cannot die because it has never been alive. When you've looked through your pictures, try sorting them into piles of living and non-living things. Then separate the pictures of living things into piles for plants and animals. You can hang the pictures on your wall or your bulletin board, and whatever you find, anything new, you can ask yourself, does it need food? Does it need water? Does it need air? Can it grow or move all by itself? Then you can add the picture to your collection. You will always be able to tell what is alive and what is not. Great job listening, friends. That book was called What's Alive? In just a second, we're going to go through a list of living things and non-living things. What makes something alive?
Welcome back, friends. That was such a great story. I love how it kept reminding us that living things need water, food, and air to make energy, and that's what makes them alive. I also really like how at the end she sorted her own pictures of living things. So we're going to try that together today, right here. But before we do, let's review what makes something living and what makes something non-living using our chart. Right here we have living things. Remember, living things can move, they can breathe. Can you take a deep breath? Very good. They can grow, they can reproduce, and they need nutrients. They need that water, food, and air in order to be living. We have two examples on our chart. The first one we have is a tree. That's something that can grow and can move as it bends towards the sunlight, and it needs nutrients. And we also have a goldfish. If you have a pet at home, it's a living thing. It can move, it grows, and you have to make sure that it has the nutrients that it needs. Now on the other side, we have our non-living things. Remember, non-living things, they don't move. They can't move on their own. They have to have something else to move them if they're going to move. Like if you have a rock, you could throw it somewhere, but that rock's not moving by itself. They do not breathe. They don't grow any bigger. They don't reproduce. And they don't need any nutrients. They just kind of sit there. You don't have to feed a rock any food or water. It doesn't need it. So our rock is our first example. And the next one is a car. Now remember, a car can be confusing because when you see a car on the road, it's moving, but the car doesn't move by itself. It has a lot of different parts that give it electricity to make it move, and you have to have a human to make it move. So it's not moving on its own. So it's definitely not a living thing. Let's take a look at the items in our basket together, and you're going to help me decide if it's living or non-living? Some of these things are the things we found on our STEM stroll, and some of them are some other items we found around the house today. All right, let's take a look at this one first. Oh, this one should be a good one because we just went over this one. Let's take a look. That's right, we've got a rock. Is a rock a living or a non-living thing? Let's see. Does this rock move by itself? No. Does it breathe? I don't hear it breathing. Does it grow? No. They can't make any more rocks, and we don't have to feed it, so this one must be what? That's right, it's definitely a non-living thing. So I'm going to set it on this side over here. All right, let's see what else we have in our basket. Oh, this is from our STEM stroll. Remember the piece of the fern we picked up? Okay, let's look at our fern. It's a type of plant. Do plants move? Yeah, they do. They have to move to get sunlight. Do they breathe? They actually do. They let air into their stem and into their leaves because they have to breathe, kind of like we do. They grow. They reproduce because if you have seeds, it makes more plants. And you have to feed it some good nutrients with the soil, and you have to water it. So this one is a living thing. Now, once you've picked a living thing like this fern, I had to take it off of the plant. So after a while, it's not going to have the nutrients that it needs anymore. And just like in our story when she was talking about how living things have to die, it's going to die eventually. But it did come from a living thing, so we're going to put it with living things. Right there. All right, what else do we have? Oh, this is definitely not from our STEM stroll. What's that? A toy car. You might have some of these at your house. We did not find this outside on our stroll. But let's decide if it's living or non-living. Does the toy car move? Now remember, if it's living, it has to move by itself. So if I set this down, is it moving by itself? No. I could move it, but that doesn't mean it's moving on its own. Does the toy car breathe? No, it doesn't breathe. I don't hear it breathing. Can it grow? That would be pretty cool, but it does not. Can it make more toy cars? Can it reproduce? No. And we don't have to feed or water this car. So this one is non-living. I'm gonna stick it over here with the rock, if it stays. There we go. All right, what else do we have? Oh, you might have one of these at home too. It's a toy doll. Okay, let's look at this toy doll and decide if this is a living thing or a non-living thing. Does the toy doll move? Remember, it has to move on its own, so let's see if she can move all by itself. Nope, doesn't move on its own. I can move her. I can make her wave and walk around, but I'm a living thing, so I can move. Does she breathe? No, not breathing. Can she grow? No, we've actually had this doll for a very long time and she's always been the same size, so I don't think she grows. She can't make any more dolls, and I don't have to feed this doll, which is kind of nice. So what do you think, living or non-living? That's right, she is a non-living thing. Just a toy doll. Okay, oh, this is something from our STEM stroll that Miss Sarah talked to us about earlier. What do we have here? No, they're not potatoes, they're tomatoes. Tomatoes, they're so yummy on sandwiches and salads. All right, let's think about this one. Do they move? Remember, she showed us that it was on a tomato plant. And we learned in our story that plants move to find sunlight. They have to turn themselves to get the sun. So I think it does move. Does it breathe? It's got to get some of that air in through its leaves and through its stem. Does it grow? Definitely. The ones she showed us outside didn't have any tomatoes on them, but these are already grown tomatoes. Does it reproduce? Can we make more tomatoes? If we had some seeds, we could. Does it need nutrients? It does. We have to feed and water these tomatoes for them to grow. So this one must be living. That's right. It's a living thing. All right, let's see. Maybe we can do 2 more. Oh, this is something you might find on a STEM stroll. What do we have? A stick or a twig. We found it outside, so maybe it's a living thing because lots of living things are outside. But we better check first. Okay, does it move? Well, we better test it. Okay, let me put it right here on the edge of the counter and leave it alone. Is it moving? No. Does it breathe? I don't think it's breathing. Does it grow? If I left this outside, do you think this stick would get any bigger? No, probably not. Do we need to water it? No. So right now this stick is what? Non-living. Now it could have come from a living thing. Maybe it's from a plant or maybe it's from a tree, but it's dead now, so it's not living anymore. Let's see, one more thing.
Hey, I have something.
Oh, this is a good one to sort.
Yes. I found this. He wasn't our STEM straw. He actually went with us.
He did. Tucker, we have to decide if Tucker is living or non-living. What do you think?
Let's go through the chart, Miss Katie.
All right.
I just saw him.
Move. Tucker, can you move?
Let's see.
Can you move?
Tucker, shake.
He moves and he does tricks. What a cool dog.
Good job. So he moves.
Check. Does he breathe? Let's listen. Oh, he's going like this. He's trying to sniff me. I definitely hear him breathing.
Yes.
Does he grow?
Oh, yes.
He definitely grows. He's gotten pretty big. Does he reproduce? So could dogs have puppies? Dogs could have puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Does he need nutrients? Miss Sarah, do you have to feed Tucker?
I do. He eats dog food every day, and he loves apples and carrots and other things too.
So he needs food and he needs water.
Drinks water.
So what do you think? Is he living or non-living?
I think he is
Living! Yay! Tucker's a living
Did
thing.
such a good job. Thank
Now
you.
you can try this at home. We actually have resources for you online that you can use to sort some pictures of things and decide if you think they're living things or non-living things. This is what they look like right here. So with your parents' help, you can print these off. You can even color them in and cut them out, and then you can sort them on a chart and decide if they're living or non-living. Try it out. It's actually pretty fun. It's game time. Let's play living or non-living.
Hey friends, we're going to practice what we just learned about living and non-living things. Let's go over it real quick. Living things move on their own. They breathe, they grow, they reproduce, and they need nutrients like food and air and water. So I'm going to show you some things that are either living or non-living things. If they're living things, I want you to act like the living thing. If they are non-living things, then I want you to stand still because non-living things do not move. All right, are you ready? Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is this. Is it living or non-living? Let's look at Miss Katie. If you were standing still, you are exactly right. That is a non-living thing. It's Play-Doh. All right, you're doing great. Let's try again. This one will be fun. Living or non-living? If you look like Miss Katie, then you were right. Did you look like Miss Katie? A frog is a living thing. Great job. All right, ready again?
I'm ready.
Here comes the next one. All right. You got it. If you look like Miss Katie and you're standing still, then you're right. An umbrella is a non-living thing. Ready? Here we go. Go. Miss Katie, is a bird a living or a non-living thing?
It's a living thing.
That's right. Miss Katie cannot fly, so she's pretending like she's a bird hopping on the ground. Here we go. You ready? Go. That's right. A rock is a non-living thing, so she's standing still. Woo, this is a fun one. Are you ready? Here we go. Ah! It's a living thing. Don't scare me, Miss Katie. A bear is a living thing. It breathes, it moves, it needs nutrients, and it makes more bears. Are you ready? That's right. A gumball machine is not a living thing. It does not eat, it does not breathe, it does not move unless we make it move. Here we go. Ready? Is this a living or a non-living thing? Ah, that's right. A little boy is a living thing. Okay. You ready? They do play like airplanes. Here we go. That's right. Miss Katie's not standing still, so she is a living thing. A bumblebee is a living thing. Ready? What do you think? Ooh, Miss Katie's standing still. A backpack is a non-living thing. You're exactly right. All right, this one's a little scary for me. Are you ready? Woo! Is this a living or a non-living thing? All right, Miss Katie. That is pretty scary. A snake is a living thing. All right, our last one. All right, Miss Katie. That's exactly right. A fire truck is a non-living thing. I hope you had fun playing. You can play again. You can play again with our video, or if you want, you can print these picture cards off from the internet from our site. And you can cut these out, you can color them, and you can play this game at home with your family or your friends. Living or non-living? What's alive?
Art extension. Paint examples of living and non-living things using items around your house.
All right, friends, thanks for learning with us today. We learned about what things are living and what things are not living. So we looked around our house to find some things that were living and some things that were not living. And I want to help you do an art project today. This is called stamping art. You can use different things around your house like we did. Like this was a toilet paper tube. I sprayed it off with some Lysol spray before I used it. I cut it, and then I used some paint that I made at home. This morning when I was trying to find paint around my house, I couldn't find any. So I looked it up on the internet and found that you can make paint with flour and sugar and water and food coloring. So this is the paint that I made. I made these flowers with this toilet paper tube. Let me show you how I did it. I spread it in the paint, pushed it around, and then I pushed it down on that and lifted it up, and it made a print. One of my favorite prints to make was using a fork. I used the green paint for this one, and you just dab it on there. You can make leaves like that fern. This one kind of looks like that fern leaf, doesn't it? So I have painted a living thing with that, something that looks like a living thing. You can also use something from your refrigerator. Ask your mom if you have one of these. Does anybody know what this is? It's something you can eat. It's celery. This was once a living thing before it was picked. I love to make celery prints. Dip it in the paint and then press it on your paper. Oh, look how pretty that is. What does that remind you of? It reminds me of a living thing. Maybe a flower? Yeah, me too. I may sit here and do this all day. Kind of fun. So you could use the celery. You could also use this. Do you know what this is? This was a living thing at one time. This is a carrot. So you can make carrot prints too. And then you can do all kinds of things like that. So you might choose to paint at home and paint living things and non-living things. You can use things that you find around your house. You can even have your parent make paint for you at home if you don't have any. Miss Katie, is there anything else they can do to practice or have fun with living and non-living things?
You can also use some things you might find around your house to build living and non-living things like Play-Doh. You could make something that's living with Play-Doh, like maybe, oh, this is my favorite thing to make. Roll it together real quick.
What are we making?
A snake. And then you can coil it up. So that's pretty cool. You might also have some Legos or some blocks around the house. So see if you can build some things that are living and build some things that are non-living out of those Legos and blocks. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of our lesson 2 because we're going to talk more about plants and the parts of a plant coming up.
Part 2, the parts of a plant.
Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Miss Sarah from Auburn Day School and
I'm Miss Katie.
we're glad you're back. Today we were talking about living and non-living things. We learned that a plant is a living thing because it moves towards the sun, it breathes in the air, it grows, it reproduces, and it needs nutrients. Plants are important because we eat plants, and plants also make oxygen, which is what we breathe. Plants are made up of different parts, just like we are. We are living things, and we have different parts that do different things. Do you remember that song about our different parts?
Yes, head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
That's it. Let's do that together. Are you ready? Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. That was pretty slow. You think we can do it faster?
I think we can. Are you ready?
Yeah. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Awesome. Okay, one more time. This time, can we leave out knees?
Okay.
And we'll just say,
All
Can
right.
we do that?
Sounds good.
I don't know if I can. We'll try. Head, shoulders, and toes, and toes. Head, shoulders, and toes, and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, and toes, and toes. Awesome.
Great job.
Now we know that the different parts of our body do different things. Our head houses our brain, which helps us to
Think.
That's right. Our shoulders help us move our arms. We can do the wave. They help us to be able to reach up. That's right. So we have our head, our shoulders, our knees help us to
Bend and walk and move.
That's right. And then our toes help us.
Walk. Keep our balance.
Exactly. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Oh, what about our
Oh, we know these are 5 senses. Eyes help us see. Ears help us hear. Mouth helps us taste. Nose helps us smell.
That's right. So all of these parts make up living beings. They make you up. They make me up. A plant has different parts as well. We're going to talk about the different parts of a plant in just a second. So join us again. That was pretty good.
All right, friends, let's take a look at the parts of a plant. Miss Sarah has a real plant, so she's going to show you these parts on her real plant, and I'm going to go over it on our anchor chart up here. Parts of a plant. We're going to start at the top and make our way to the bottom. All right, the first part is right here. Can you see this part in the picture? That's right, it's the flower. These are the flower petals. Now our chart tells us that the flower petals attract animals and pollinate flowers. So the petals are what makes the flower really pretty. When you're walking around on your own stem strolls and you see a pretty flower, you're probably looking at the petals that have the color in them. So it attracts the animals and the insects, and that's when they come to get pollen from the flower. All right, keep going down. Next arrow's right here, and it's pointing to the middle of the flower. This is where the seeds are. So the seeds help the flowers reproduce. Have you ever planted a plant before? If you have, you know that you have to start off with a tiny seed and you put it in the soil, and that's how it grows. In fact, we have a read aloud that you can go check out on our website called The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle, and it talks about how that seed starts little, but then it turns into a flower. Let's keep going down. Our next one is, what's this right here? The leaves. Leaves soak in light and air to make food for the plant. People and animals, we get in the things we need through our mouths. So if we need water, we're just gonna use our mouth to drink it. Or if we need to eat some food, we use our mouth. But a plant doesn't have a mouth. It has to use its leaves as one way to absorb things into the plant. All right, The next part, oh, this is the part that makes the plant tall. Right here is the stem. The stem carries water through the plant. So the water, you don't pour it right on the plant. You might put it on the ground around the plant. But how does the water get from the ground to the plant? Well, the stem kind of serves like a road. Like a car has to drive on a road to get from your house to the grocery store. Well, the water has to travel through the stem to get from the ground to the rest of the plant. And the last part, you might have heard of this part before, it's one of my favorites, are the roots. Now the roots of the plant carry water from the ground to the leaves. Remember how I said that leaves can absorb things into the plants? The roots do that too. Anytime you pour water into the ground, these roots that you see soak the water up and then they send it to the stem. And what did we say the stem does? That's right, it carries it everywhere else in the plant so that the plant can get the water that it needs. Now I think we have a fun song about the parts of a plant. Do you remember the head, shoulders, knees, and toes song that we sang earlier? Now, Miss Sarah knows one, but instead of talking about the parts of our bodies, it talks about the parts of a plant.
Get ready to sing along to practice the parts of a plant.
All right, are you ready for our parts of a plant song? It's to the tune of head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So if you remember that song, you should be good to go. Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots. Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots. And don't forget the seeds to reproduce. Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots.
Katie, do you want to act it out while I sing it?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots. Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots. And don't forget the seeds to reproduce. Flowers, leaves, stems and roots, stems and roots.
Great job.
Experiment 1. Growing grass seeds. Materials: sponge, grass seed, water, empty container and lid, paper and crayons for observations.
Hey friends, glad you're back. We're going to do an experiment now, and we're going to plant grass seed so that we can watch grass seed grow. Are you ready? I am too. Let's get going. What you're going to need is a sponge. Now with this sponge, I just got it from the store, and so what you want to do is you want to rinse that sponge out. You can do this in the sink, or you can get a bowl with fresh water, and it's kind of cleaning the sponge. The last time you rinse that you squish that water out and rinse that sponge, leave a little bit of water in there. Then you're going to put the sponge on a lid. That lid is going to be the base. Then you're going to take some grass seed, and you're going to sprinkle that grass seed on the top of the sponge. The more grass seed you sprinkle on there, the more grass you're going to have. Now, if you're doing this experiment at home, you can do it on the sponge like I'm doing, or you can do it on some dirt outside, or you can bring some dirt inside and put it in a little cup and sprinkle the seeds on top. But with this experiment, I'm doing it on the sponge because I want to show you evaporation. Do you remember we talked about evaporation a couple of weeks ago with the water cycle? I'll tell you how it's going to work. We've sprinkled those seeds on the sponge, and now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of water on top. If you have a spray bottle at home that has water in it, you might use that. But I didn't have one, so I'm just going to sprinkle it on there. What do plants need to grow? That's right, they need water, so here we go. Okay. Now remember I told you that we're going to have evaporation here? Here's how it's going to work. I've got the bottom of this container, but now the bottom is going to be the top. That's right. The top is the bottom and the bottom is the top. I'm going to clip this on here. Carefully make sure. Oh yeah. Is that pretty good?
Mm-hmm, looks tight.
I think so too. And look, you can still see the grass seed in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in a sunny spot in my house. What do you think is going to happen to these seeds?
They're probably going to start to grow.
I think so, because a seed needs water. It needs that soil down there. In this case, it's a sponge. And it also needs sunlight. Now, I could take this out and I could put it on my porch. I could put it out on my driveway, as long as nobody's going to drive over it. Or I could put it in a sunny spot here in my house, as long as it gets lots of
Sunshine.
And what's going to happen is, what I think is going to happen is maybe those seeds will start to grow. What do you think they're going to grow?
I bet you're right. Probably some grass, since it's a grass seed.
I think so. It'll probably grow grass. The neat thing about this is that on the sides of the container, something is going to collect. What do you think is going to collect? Do you remember in our water bag experiment, what collected on the side of the bag? That's right, it was water. So water will come up from that sponge, it will evaporate and go up, and then it will condensate on the sides of the container. And when it gets up to the top, it'll be so heavy, it'll go right back down into the sponge. That's the water cycle. That's the precipitation going down into the sponge. So you won't even have to open it and water it. I can't wait to see what happens. It may take a few days, I'm not sure. So every day I'm going to take a look at it and see what's happening.
Experiment 2, rainbow celery. All right, friends, time for experiment number 2, where we're going to look and see how plants absorb water and how water travels through their stems. Here are the things that you're going to need. Materials: celery stalks, 2 to 4 clear glass cups, water, and food coloring. All right, time to get started. Now over here I have an experiment that we've already finished, and Miss Sarah's going to help me on this side show you what we're doing step by step. Remember, it's important for this experiment, if you want to try it, you need to ask an adult to help you with it. I'm going to walk us through step by step. First thing we need to do is separate a stalk of celery from the leaves, and we're going to cut a little bit off of the bottom. So here's our celery. She's going to use her hands to break off a part right there. And it looks like she separated the bottom pretty well, but if you needed to, with an adult's help, an adult could use a knife to cut off the bottom too. We just want to make sure that it has part of it showing, just like this, fresh inside showing. Okay, so step 1 is finished. Step 2, we're going to pour about 2 cups of water into our glass. Okay, so let's pour some water into our glass. Now, we're going to take some food coloring. This is something an adult would need to help you with too. Here's our food coloring right here. What color did we choose? Yeah, we chose blue. Now, the one that we've already finished, we have lots of colors, so you can try it with multiple colors, but we're just going to show you how to do it with the blue first. All right, take the blue food coloring.
Ooh.
And we put a few drops in the water.
Cool.
We're going to let it sit for just a minute. You might even stir it up so the whole water looks blue. Miss Sarah's going to use that celery to help stir it. Ah, there we go. Now all the water's blue. Now what we're going to do is take the celery and we're going to put it into the cup, just like we had it earlier. But instead of taking it out this time, we're going to leave it. I want you guys to think and predict, what do you think will happen if we leave this celery in the blue water for a long time? Well, you'll have to try it at home and see if your prediction's correct, but I'm also going to show you with the one that we finished. Now, this experiment is cool because it shows you how water travels up the stem. So the bottom of the celery is where the water is being absorbed. That's called osmosis. The water is being absorbed up into the plant, and then it's going to travel through this part of the celery, kind of like water travels through the stem of a plant. In fact, this is kind of like a stem for a plant. It's how the water gets up there. All right, so let's take a look and see. We left some celery in these colored waters for about 24 hours or 1 day, and we want to see what happened after 1 day. You can leave it for a very long time too. Let's see if we can see what happened. Okay, so here's our example of the blue one. Ooh, can you see what happened to the top of that celery? What color do you see right there? That's right, it kind of looks like it's turning blue. Now, how would that celery have turned blue? It's supposed to be green. I bet you're right. The water which is blue, traveled all the way up to the top of that celery, and you can see how it's starting to change colors. And I bet if we leave it longer, you might even be able to see more colors. You can also see it really well in this red one. You can kind of see how there's that red here and right there. And ooh, on the back side, we kind of got a little red going. And I bet if we leave it for even longer, you'll be able to see more colors. So ask an adult at your house if you can try this experiment to see how water travels through plants. Fun activity. Let's go on a refrigerator hunt.
Hey, glad to see you again. What room do you think we are in my house? Take a look around. Do I keep one of these in my bedroom? No. This is our
refrigerator.
You probably have a refrigerator in your home too. What do we keep in here?
Lots of good food.
Yes, lots of good food. Did you know that you keep plants in your refrigerator?
What? I thought we just had food in the fridge.
Oh no. Well, yes we do. And some of the food that we keep in there are from plants. So I'm going to let you in my refrigerator and let's go on a plant hunt and see if we can find something. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! This is really my refrigerator. This is really what's in it right now. Let's see. Oh, do you remember what these were? What are they?
Tomatoes, that's right.
Tomatoes are plants. They grow. So we've got tomatoes. What else do we have in here? Ooh. Anybody know what this is? This is lettuce. This is one form of lettuce. This is iceberg lettuce. Is lettuce a plant? It sure is. It grows on the ground.
You probably eat a lot of lettuce if you eat salads.
Ah, what about this, Miss Katie? This is called green leaf lettuce. This one has a little bit more nutrients than iceberg lettuce. A little bit more healthy for you. It's a little prettier too. So is lettuce, green leaf lettuce a plant? It is. What about this? What's that?
Bread.
Is bread a plant?
I think they make it from plants, but bread's not a plant.
You're exactly right. They make it from plant, but it's not a plant.
This one is my favorite.
Oh, what are those? Yeah, strawberries. Are strawberries plants? Yes, strawberries grow on plants. Ah, we had these for dinner last night. Let's see if I can pull them out and let you see. What are these? Do you know? These are called green beans. Green beans grow on plants. Awesome. Oh my goodness, I have a lot of plants in here, Miss Katie.
Yep, let's check out one more good plant. Let's see.
Do you know what that is? Those are called asparagus. Asparagus is a plant that grows. Can we do one more thing?
One more.
Okay, one more thing. I did not get, actually maybe even 2.
These are good.
Yeah, I like these a lot. What about these? Do you know what that is? It's a fruit. It's an orange. An orange grows on an orange tree way up high. Is an orange a part of a plant? It is. What's inside that orange? Next week we'll talk about that a little bit more. Maybe one more. What is that? That's right.
An apple.
An apple grows on an apple tree. So some of our plants grow down close to the ground. Like this one kind of grows closer to the ground. Some of them grow on the ground. Some of them grow on plants and kind of up and down like that.
And some of them grow in
trees. Hey, thanks for going on a refrigerator scavenger hunt with us. If you do this at home, make sure you have an adult with you and don't leave the door open too long because you're letting out a lot of cold air. Thanks a lot. Have fun.
Let's review. All right, friends, we've had such a great time learning about plants with you guys today. So let's review what we learned in part 2 of our lesson. We talked about the different parts of a plant. We learned about the flower petals, the seeds and how plants need those to reproduce, the leaves that soak in light and air, the stem, which is kind of like a road, how everything travels in the plant, and then the roots that carry the water and soak it up from the ground. So I hope you learned a lot about parts of a plant and you try out some of our experiments and some of our art projects. We also have 2 additional read-alouds that you can check out on our website. We have The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle, and we have a fun fiction story called Tops and Bottoms that goes over the parts of plants too. Also, make sure to check out all of the art extension activities because we also have a very cool activity that's finger painting dandelions that you can try at home. Make sure you tune in and subscribe to our channel. That way you can check out our STEM lesson for next week.
Thanks for tuning in.